Hey everybody, here I am. I'm at the Community of Christ Temple. Just finished day one of World Conference 2023. Thought I would give you a few impressions. So the day started out, I can't switch my camera view here. The day started out with the discussion and information sessions. No, I didn't go to that. The opening legislative meeting, which was different, very different from LDS General Conference in a few ways. Number one, they passed some resolutions, and it was people dissented. It's kind of a little bit more parliamentary. I remember actually, I was a little bit late, and so when we got there, they were talking about what to do if there was a fire. They said when the fire alarm goes off, this is what it will sound like, and they actually had it go off. And then they were like talking about exits and things like that, and I was like, boy, they never talk about that in our general conference. They even talked about what to do with an active shooter, which I thought was really interesting. You'd never hear that in LDS general conference. They passed a few resolutions. I remember one of them had to do with changing how the board of trustees was for Graceland University. A few people dissented, but that passed by a wide margin. Anyway, so that was the first, that was from 10 to noon, and then we went to lunch, went with Deb Luce. She is going to be a guest. I'm going to interview her tomorrow, actually. I'm excited about that. She's an evangelist in the Community of Christ, what LDS would call, well, we would call her a patriarch or a matriarch. I actually asked Deb weeks ago if I could call her matriarch, and she said, no, that makes me sound too old. So anyway, I had an interesting lunch with Deb, and looking forward to that interview we're going to get together tomorrow and talk about that. Then, let's see, 2 o'clock was the legislative meeting again, except for it was really, this time it was more of an awards ceremony. I don't know if I can splice in a video, but it was almost, this African man led it, and it was like singing and clapping, and we don't do any clapping. Oh, but there was a lot of clapping and standing ovations and that sort of thing. But the second session, it says in the schedule, I'm looking at my schedule so I can remember, it went from 2 to 4:30, but I went from 2 to about 3:15, and then they're like, we're going to take a half-hour break, go walk around. So I remember walking around, my hips hurting me, so that was good for me to walk around. But anyway, it was more of an awards, like people retiring and people who've done good service and different awards, kind of stuff like that. So then, after the half-hour break, there was more legislation. I can't remember what that was. It passed. It was not, I don't know, it wasn't like really, I think the exciting stuff's next week. So anyway, that was interesting. Then I went to a dinner, what they call a seekers meeting. They asked if I was a seeker, which in LDS parlance, we would say, are you an investigator? Are you investigating the church? And I was like, no, but if there's free food, I'll be happy to come. You know me. So anyway, Apostle Locke Mackay was there, and Robin Linkart was there. I also got to see Gina Colvin, talked to her a little bit, so that was cool. Gina used to host the Thoughtful Faith podcast. She's a New Zealander, so I actually recognized her by her accent, and I was like, are you Gina? so that was funny. And then we came back here to the temple. The first two were in the auditorium, and I was curious about seating capacity. Auditorium holds 6,000, and the temple here, I'll try to show you around here. My backlighting's probably not going to be too good. I'm actually on the balcony here, and it holds only 1,600. I was surprised. This is a lot smaller than the auditorium. So the auditorium holds 6,000. A lot of times they hold graduations there and things like that. So they gave an International Peace Award to some lady that I don't remember her name. So anyway, and then they ended with, so there was a few songs A lot more clapping, a lot more standing, a lot more casual, as you can see. People don't dress up in ties for this. Some people do, like the President VZ and people in the First Presidency and stuff like that. But I don't think Locke had a tie on. I don't remember. Oh, you turned out the lights. I guess I better go. So anyway, so that was my first day of Sea of Christ WC23. That's the tag or whatever. So anyway, they're turning out the lights, so I guess I better get out of here. But anyway, those are my first day impressions, so it was interesting.